This is InfoBlast, bringing you the news that the military has done in a giant monster sickos style in the streets of Baden-Baden. The resulting visceral splash zone covers a larger area than any other takedown this quarter. Big ups to the Frankenfliegen Flyboys and whoever currently owns them. And now for today's weather update. It's all looking rather kaiju. There have been emergencies in the North Sea, Indian Ocean, South China Sea, and Bering Strait, all within the last few short weeks. The rate of attacks by giant monsters has seen a steady increase over the past decade. Just 5 years ago, you might see a city block get gnarled by a huge alien freak once every other month. Now we're approaching silly buggers figures of one event a week, or even bigger numbers than that. Joining me to affirm the number correctness is another man who exists, Dr. Steve Goujon. Hello, Steve.
Hello. Pleasure to be here.
I think we'll let our audience be the judge of that. Stick to your numbers. Clarice, is there any way we can remotely lower his chair?
Are you swearing, Jurgen?
No. Steve, these numbers, they're high, and they're getting spicier by the minute. Now, what's that about, exactly? Where are these numbers going?
Well, it's true that the rate of attacks per quarter is increasing. There are also significant gaps of no activity whatsoever. In fact, Kaiju attacks seem to be becoming clustered in an unexpected way, which may be even more problematic than a general linear increase in event frequency.
Right, and if we had both, where would we be then? I mean, what sort of figures would we be looking at?
Well, there's no reason to think we would see that at this stage, and Kaiju biomass and threat level is also highly variable, you know, so...
But specifically in terms of the numbers, they would be big numbers.
There will be all sorts of big numbers involved, yes.
Some of the biggest.
I suppose that's entirely possible. For these kinds of events, I mean.
Terrifying. Well, I mean, that's just horrifying. But how's one to cope, exactly? I mean, what do you want us to do? I have a half a mind to trash myself through that 10th floor window.
Well, it's worth pointing out that the mortality rates for Kaiju attacks are actually on decline. As we, as a species, get better at defending ourselves, the Kaiju themselves seem to be getting increasingly trivial to, destroy, neutralize.
And what does that mean for our listeners, who are desperate for any hope in this nightmarish model that you've made up?
I haven't... Well, it means that their safety is actually pretty secured. In most cases, these things burn themselves out on our defense systems, and that's the lot. Actually, the biggest problem, aside from increasing military funding, which I should say, as a publicly funded scientist, I am absolutely in favor of, is what to do with all the Kaiju we're killing in self-defense.
Oh, so it's the meat, you're saying? Mounds and heaps of smoking Kaiju flesh, so tall we won't know what to do with them. That's the most concerning figure.
It's certainly a concerning figure. I'm just making the point that actually the attacks themselves aren't the biggest problem in the world anymore, and the logistical consequences of them all dying in or near our cities are...
Well, why don't you tell that to this picture of Harambe Gutenberg, whose birthday party had to be cancelled due to energy blasts from the Great Bat of Uppsala.
I don't... well, that's very sad. I believe there were also a number of deaths in that incident, which seems to...
Very sad, and number of deaths. I think we got the gist of it. That's all for now, Steve. We'll be in touch with your commission.
I did specify I'd like it donated to...
Shove it. This concludes our segment with Dr. Steve Goujon. Programming will resume after this corporate break.
You know, it's actually Dr. Goujon. I didn't want to correct you while we were...
You've got some nerve, you know that? Listen, when you come into another man's place of business, it's only good manners to make sure your eye level is below his eye level. I mean, it's just rude what you've done here today.
I'm sorry?
You're a very tall man. I acknowledge that. Some would say it's freakish. I would say you're just unnecessarily long. But it's incumbent upon you to make sure you don't scare the presenter by looming over him like a sinister tree in a nightmare.
I'm sorry, but I didn't think I was doing any looming. Can I get back to work? No, they only gave me 15 minutes off, and I really don't want to get bogged down in this conflict with you.
We'll have Clarice get that mic off you. Just stay seated until I leave the room. I don't want to be haunted by the image of you stomping around. Basically, Kaiju, I don't want that thing anywhere near me. Now for a brief message from today's sponsor. The world is a mess. Ruin waits around every corner to pounce on the unsuspecting. Sometimes it's your employer's crypto crashing like a dead duck. Sometimes your grandmother is struck by flotsam. Sometimes you're overcome by a pack of wild dogs in the street. Our limbic systems are getting fried by incidents of sheer terror at a rate that will never slow down enough for the jelly that makes us afraid to work properly. It's a nightmare. We're all in it, and we're never getting out of here. This message brought to you by Barkaway, the only anxiolytic that's proven not to cause hallucinations of baying hounds. Barkaway. When the going gets rough, swallow these, you neurotic freak.